Hello and what's up, GSC Pokemon Challenges fam? How you guys doing? We're back with episode 2 of the Whitney Minimum Battles series. We're gonna see if we lose with any Pokemon this time. Last time we had basically a clean sweep. We got through with everything legitimately, with the exception of Pidgey, which had to go max power return. I think we're really not gonna see that many Pokemon struggle in this section as long as they get strong TM moves, but today there are a few that I think we should keep an eye on. We are coming in today, of course, with Arbok. We've got Pikachu and Raichu. We've got Sandslash. We've got Nidoqueen. We've got the entire Nidoran male line. We've got the entire Clefairy line, including the baby Cleffa. We've got Ninetales. We've got Lanturn. We've got Togetic. We've got Xatu. And then we've got Flaafy and Ampharos. Now, the biggest thing that I'm looking at in this one is the unevolved forms of Nidoking. They're not going to get a lot of TMs here. Those Pokemon, as far as I know, aren't going to be using like Dig or, elemental punches to get through. So there might be more Pokemon that have to try return strats, but they don't have the same type of attack bonus in the move like we saw last time with Pidgey. We also really need to keep an eye on Cleffa since it is the Pokemon with the lowest stats of all of these, and it might just turn out to be too much. So I'm going to make some conservative predictions here. I think we're getting through with all of the fully evolved Pokemon, but I think some of these first stage Pokemon might start to slip off the list here. They might just not have enough to get through. So I'm going to say that we get through with 15 of 17. There might just be a couple that fall off, and that's including Pokemon that are going to get through with something like a really overpowered TM here. Even then, I think we're only getting through with 15 of these challengers, but let's just find out. And to kick things off, I'm going to go for the poison types. I want to see Nidoking, Nidoqueen, and Arbok and just see how they match up. But I really think the best comparison for Arbok is actually going to be the Nidorino, a pure poison type that yet again isn't going to get a ton of strong moves here. Anyway, let's lead off with Nidoking and see how it goes. So leading off with our Nidoking, I really don't think this is a Pokemon that's going to struggle here. Keep in mind, we already know Double Kick, which is a fighting type move that will be super effective, and we're going to resist rollouts. So technically, we shouldn't take too much damage here. So this is a fight where I don't expect Whitney to be using rollout against us, and instead I expect her to mostly be just spamming Stomp. So as long as we can land the double kicks, we should be perfectly fine in this one. At least that's my prediction. So once again in this episode, unless we find a situation where we actually care about these underground trainers, we're pretty much just going to beat them with every Pokemon and then move on to the gym. I don't see too much difficulty popping up in this section though. And while this is one where we could get tons of really good TM moves for our Nidoking, I just don't think we need any of them. So I'm simply going to come here and trade in order to get the Machop so that I can use the Goldberry easily. And outside of that, we're just going to go straight to the gym, and I don't expect to have too much difficulty. And in honor of Halloween, we will take on Scary Carrie and her scary little doggo, where we are simply going to kick it repeatedly, have a double kick, and it is a one-hit KO. So we get to level 20, and Nidoking is ready to go fight the gym leader, where we are coming in with 70 HP. We know Horn Attack, Mud Slap, Double Kick, and Poison Sting. We're going to hold a berry right now. Not sure we even need the gold berry here, so let's just try it without it. We're coming in with 49 attack, 43 defense, 46 special attack, 42 special defense, and 47 speed. All around, very good. Let's just see if we can win on this first try. So Whitney sends out her Clefairy, and we go Double Kick, and it's not quite a one-hitter. It just barely survives and goes Peck on us, so I'm just going to Horn Attack that one down. Out next comes the Miltank. It goes Rollout, which doesn't do much because it's not very effective. We go for Double Kick, and then it misses the next Rollout. It's barely surviving here as it goes for Milk Drink, but we're just going to keep double kicking this Pokemon. And basically now she's stuck in a loop of either she has to use Milk Drink or she's going to get knocked out. So we finally knock her out there. First attempt, no problems whatsoever. Nidoking, I don't think it was ever a question. This Pokemon is getting through with the fact that it has Double Kick on the moveset already, plus its good stats. I mean, Nidoking is just a boss. Or I guess a king technically, so let's just come squirt some water on Sudowoodo, and we are ready to move on in the game. And with Nidoking done, now it's just time to see if Nidoqueen can do the same. Now while Nidoqueen isn't quite as offensive as we were with our Nidoking, we basically have the same moveset here, and we shouldn't really need to add anything at this point. I'm going to avoid adding on extra TMs until we actually need them in the run, because it's kind of fun just to see how far we can get with what we've got. And obviously Stab Mud Slap is already pretty good on this Pokemon. But really, we're just going to be stretching our legs out here as we just double kick everything, and I think we're going to do pretty well. So back to carry with our Nidoqueen, we're simply going to spam double kick here. It's going to take 2 turns to knock her out, but we do get through very, very easily once again, and it's on to Whitney. So Nidoqueen, named Nidoking. And now that I've properly reset my name so that I'm not Nidoking with this Pokemon, Nidoqueen is coming out at level 20 with 73 HP. We know Double Kick, Scratch, Mud Slap, and Tail Whip. I don't think we need to change the moveset. And we have 45 attack, 47 defense, 42 special attack, 46 special defense, and 43 speed. We will be slower than the Miltank. I'm not sure it's gonna matter. Let's try this. So Whitney attempt number 1, we're just gonna spam Double Kick here. It's going to take 2 turns yet again to knock out this Clefairy. Went for Rock Smash, which meant nothing, but we did get a defense drop. Okay, out next comes the Miltank. We are going to double kick it after it uses a single rollout on us. This is going to be a 3-hit KO with this move. She stays with rollout though, and since she never missed, she couldn't get out of it and Milk Drink, so we easily win on the first attempt. And just like that, these 2 fully evolved Nidos are moving on. I mean, they're 2 really good Pokemon overall. They have tons of moves throughout the rest of the run, and we have the advantage that our Stab Mud Slap will be good against Morty in the next section. You got to keep in mind though that Mud Slap does not prevent him from using the move Curse. And Curse could actually be the real issue of a lot of Pokemon in the next section. But for now, we have managed to get through here, and we are moving on minimum battles. With that being said though, the next Pokemon that we're going to use is Arbok. Arbok does not have a ground typing, and I don't think it's going to get any really good moves. Basically Dig. We're going to have to see maybe if Dig strats can get through or not. Now the real question is going to be what our speed is with this Pokemon when we get to the Whitney fight. I don't think we're going to be able to outspeed, which means we're not going to be able to go for flinch strats. At least not without the Quick Claw. So that means that Arbok might be in this weird sort of situation where it doesn't really have any weaknesses per se, but it's going to need maybe something like Poison, maybe some Wrap damage, plus some good ranges with Bite, maybe some Quick Claw, maybe Dig. We're just going to have to see. So this is one Pokemon where I'm going to get the Quick Claw first before I even go to try to take on Whitney. Usually I just wait to go to the national park until after the gym, but this is one where it might actually matter. First things first though, we've got to take on Scary Carry, so we're going to go into this fight. I think we're faster than Snubble here, so this one should be pretty simple. We're just going to spam Bite, hope to get the flinches, goes Charm, but obviously Charm doesn't matter to Bite, so we easily get through that on the first attempt. So coming into the Whitney fight itself, we are now at level 17 with our Arbok. We've got 54 HP. We know that we're going to level up after the first Clefairy. We're going to come in with Bite, Leer, Poison Sting, and Wrap as our starting moveset. Let's just see if this works or not. And we're going to have a Gold Berry on so that we can heal as much as possible. We've got 40 attack, 35 defense, 33 special attack, 38 special defense, and 39 speed. Obviously, we're much more of a physical attacker, so Bite, in spite of the fact that it is our strongest move, might not be the best move here. We're just going to have to see if we can find a way to get through with our set. Otherwise, we'll start checking into some TMs. So Whitney attempt number 1, we are obviously going to be faster than the Clefairy. I'm just going to bite this Pokemon. It flinches, but I mean, we only did 11 damage there. This is a 5-hit KO without a crit. It mimics Bite from us, then it goes for Feint Attack. That's not fortunately going to do that much, and we get another flinch, so we easily get through there. We level up, but we are still going to be slower than the Miltank. So here, I think the only way we would get through this is to poison Miltank, then go for some Rappy Wrap, and then just start trying to bite this Pokemon and hope that we can heal enough damage, and hopefully it can miss like a rollout or something here. It is just barely surviving on 2 HP at this point, but I think the next rollout knocks us out. So just like that, yes, we did lose the first attempt. However, I do think there's a pretty clear strategy for getting through this. We are simply going to teach Dig to Arbok, and here I'm going to learn Dig over Wrap, because I really don't think we're going to need Wrap as we go further in the game. Yes, it does chip damage, but I mean, we'd almost always just want to poison our opponents, and Dig is going to be better against just about everything and use our physical attacking stat and have a chance to break up that rollout. So let's just see if Dig is enough enough to get us through here. So first things first, against this Clefairy, I'm going to use Dig here. And let's just see how much damage it does. We did 17 damage there. So this would become a 3-hit KO with this move, as long as it can't hit us while we're underground. So here, once it digs, we'll simply dig because it's going to miss us and we're going to knock it out. Very nice. On to the Miltank now, where I still think we want to Poison Sting this Pokemon and ideally try to get the poison turn 1. But now as it starts to build up with the rollout, we're simply going to dig to break that move up. So now I think we just need to actually poison this Pokemon with Poison Sting, and we've got a clear strategy to get through. So this time we do even manage to poison Miltank, and I'm going to use one Leer and then go back into Dig. So we heal underground, obviously rollout will miss, and now it can go Milk Drink, but that's not really that big of a deal because it's just going to keep taking poison damage, and we can come back up and dig. And here, when it's going to use Milk Drink, I think our best strategy would be to simply stay above ground and attack. It went for Stomp instead, but Bite was enough to take it down. So just like that, Arbok does manage to get through. It's nowhere near as consistent as like the Nidoking and Nidoqueen, but it comes down to using Dig, getting a poison, which is not really that difficult to do with the move Poison Sting, and then you've just kind of got to time things out. The Leer definitely helps. If you can get a couple Leers, you're probably even better off there, but within a couple of attempts of using that strategy, I was able to get through. And now in the next section, we do have Dig in order to try to deal with the ghosts. Curse might be an issue though. Keep in mind, Dig, even when you're underground, you can still be cursed, and that extra charging turn, if you will, is actually a huge disadvantage in that situation. We're gonna have to see if it works out or not, but for now, Arbok is moving on. Now, of course, Nidorino did have to use Mud Slap in order to get through rival number 2, so we could go accuracy strats here, but when we look at the moves that we're actually able to learn, the only one that would allow this Pokemon to stay in the pass column would be Headbutt. Otherwise, we can learn Return, Blizzard, and Thunder, but all of those moves would at least put this Pokemon into the unreasonable TMs section. And with Headbutt, I don't think we're going to be fast enough to flinch, so it's basically not any better than just having Horn Attack, which we already have. So really, we're just going to have to see if this works out with the double kicks or not. Now, we could learn Poison Sting here. I'm going to skip it for now, since it's only a 15 base power move. I don't think it's going to get us through here, and it's not going to be useful in the next section either. I could be wrong, but I'd rather just get better moves later on and save some time right here. So we'll start off with Scary Carry, of course, where we're just going to double kick her Pokemon, and this is going to take 2 turns to knock out, but we do get through very, very easily, and it's on to Whitney herself. So coming into the Whitney fight, we have a level 20 Nidorino with 62 HP. We know Horn Attack, Leer, Mud Slap, and Double Kick. And we have 41 attack, 35 defense, 34 special attack and special defense, and 39 speed. So we're going to be slower than the Miltank no matter what we do. I'm giving the Gold Berry right away. I think this is the only way we're going to get through this one. And we just have to hope that that Double Kick does enough damage. Let's find out. So we're going to lead off with the Double Kicks on the Clefairy. It's going to take 2 turns to knock out. We get double slapped. That didn't do too much though, so we should be fine there. Out comes Miltank next. It goes rollout. We double kick. This is gonna take 3 turns at least, and here we do manage to survive. So double kick was enough, even on this unevolved form, to easily get through Whitney on the first attempt. So really, it's pretty reasonable to expect that anything that knows a fighting type move like double kick is probably gonna be fine here. Maybe, just maybe, we could have trouble with Nidoran male, but honestly, double kick probably made this whole section super easy. So we do get through, but I do think it's worth noting that we don't have a great setup against Morty in the next section. We don't have stab on our Mud Slap, so while we can use it, it's not going to be nearly as strong, and we don't really have a ton of other moves that we can legitimately learn to hit ghosts. We're going to end up probably having to go for something like Thunder or Blizzard in the next section, which in the next section, I'm still going to treat those as unreasonable TMs because, you know, just because you beat Whitney doesn't mean you're suddenly going to have enough money for those. So we're really going to be checking whether or not it's reasonable to get through with Nidorino in the next section. And now with Nidoran male, keep in mind it learned Poison Sting at a lower level, but we skipped that move in the last section because we needed Mud Slap and I wanted to keep on Leer for later on. So we don't even have the option of going for poison strats here. We simply have to win with our moveset or add on Headbutt or start going for some overpowered unreasonable TMs here. So first up, Scary Carry, where yet again, double kick, I think makes her a super easy win, or she does manage to paralyze us with lick and then bite us and flinch us a couple times, but we do manage to get through, but we are going to have to backtrack to heal up here. So as we come into the Whitney fight, we've got a level 20 Nidoran male with 56 HP. We're coming in with Horn Attack, Leer, Mud Slap, and Double Kick. We're going to hold the Gold Berry, and we're coming in with 35 attack, 29 defense, 28 in both specials, and 33 speed. What I'm hoping for here is that maybe with 1 or 2 accuracy drops, we can manage to get through with just the Double Kick without taking too many resets. So first things first, we've got a Clefairy here. We're going to double kick it. It's going to take 2 turns. It gets a really strong double slap on us. That was kind of bad. Out next comes this Miltank, and I'm actually going to Mud Slap this Pokemon. I'm going to go for a couple Mud Slaps here, just hoping to get a miss. We do not get one, and we easily get knocked out there. The reason I'm going for Mud Slap, to make it very clear, is because I'm pretty sure I get knocked out there if I just go for double kick. We'll test it out though. We actually get a rollout miss turn 1 here from the Miltank, so I'm just going all in on the double kicks. We heal up right there, and we do manage to get through. So all we needed was 1 rollout miss. That's why I was going for the Mud Slaps originally, but in the end, she just gave us the miss turn 1, and that's all you actually need there. It's not an excessive amount of luck, and Nidoran male does move on in this section. However, once again, we're not going to have a lot to use against ghosts in the next section. I know a lot of people are going to point to the fact that we have Hidden Power Dark. That's something that I'm going to talk about when we get into that next section, because to me, Hidden Power is actually a little bit different in the next section than something like Return or even something like Blizzard or Fire Blast. The key difference between those Game Corner TMs, for example, and Hidden Power Dark is that in a normal playthrough, you wouldn't actually know what your hidden power type was. So we're definitely going to be putting Pokemon that use hidden power in the next section into a completely different category, and I might even consider them to be a fail because of the fact that without setting your DVs like I do with Gamehook, or otherwise somehow using some sort of manipulation, there would be no way to guarantee that you would actually have a super effective hidden power typing. And since this entire run up to this point is predicated on having max DVs, I don't think that it's really reasonable to use that move, but tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. But with that being said, we have managed to get through with the entire Nidoran male line and Arbok and Nidoqueen, so let's check our progress so far. But now it's time to check in on our electric types, where we've got Ampharos and Flaafy, we've got Lanturn, and we've got Raichu and Pikachu. Raichu popped off the list for some reason. I will get that fixed. But it's time to see if these electric types can manage to be just as good as all the other Pokemon that we've seen so far. So let's go from Raichu and work through all the fully evolved electric types, and then we'll step down if they manage to get through. Now, while Raichu could learn the move Thunder Punch in the next section, I think this is one Pokemon that will not need it, since it started the entire game with Thunderbolt. That being said, we may need to add some sort of coverage on here, especially because we aren't going to have anything really useful to use against the steel types in the underground. But granted, we're at such a high level, we might just be fine to get through here. So I'm at least going to just try to come into the underground and just spam Thunderbolt. And even not very effective, it is a one-hit KO on the first Magnemite, so I think we're going to be perfectly fine here. And Thunderbolt honestly is just so overpowered for this point in the game that we're probably going to completely crush Whitney here, just thanks to the fact that we have a same type bonus in that move. So let's just get into the gym and see how much damage we actually do with this incredibly powerful move. Starting off with Scary Carry, of course, we're just going to go straight for Thunderbolt. It's not going to be a one-hitter, but definitely a two-hitter. In fact, I can even just Thundershock to finish that Pokemon off, and we are on to Whitney. So coming in with Raichu at level 17, we have 54 HP. We know Thunderbolt, Tail Whip, Quick Attack, and Thundershock. Still no TMs added on here. And we are coming in with 42 attack, 30 defense, 42 special attack, 38 special defense, and 45 speed. We're still slower here. Let's see how we do after the level up. But for now, we're just going to try to spam Thunderbolt and win. So first attempt against Whitney, I'm just going straight for Thunderbolt. It's going to be a 2-hit KO, and we paralyze Clefairy, and it missed double slap, which can all happen in a single turn, and we knock it out on the next turn. We get to level 18, and we are in a speed tie with the Miltank. It misses the first rollout, we hit Thunderbolt, it stomps second turn, but now we paralyze it, guaranteeing we get the third turn to hit it, and we win just like that. Raichu was never in question. It's all just going to come down to winning some speed ties there, and if you ever got a critical hit, it would just be a guaranteed 2-hit KO. So really, that's all we needed with our Raichu. It is clearly the strongest of these kind of standard electric types at this point in the game, and I don't expect it to have too much trouble in the next section either, keeping in mind we're still going to be able to do decent damage with Thunderbolt against Ghosts, so we'll just have to see, but at this point, no TMs necessary, we just keep progressing in the game. So of course, Ampharos comes into this section with a far more reasonable Thunder Shock on its moveset. Still, it should be pretty reasonably good, I think, and if we do need an upgrade, Thunder Punch is available. So we can come straight into the gym with this Pokemon. I'm not going to add any TMs on just yet, let's just try Scary Carry with Thunder Shock as it is. Even this appears to just be a 2-hit KO, and we easily progress through that trainer, and it's on to Whitney herself. And thanks to the medium slow level up group, Ampharos is coming in at level 20 with 73 HP, Thunder Shock, Growl, Tackle, and Thunder Wave, so we can outspeed here because we just have to paralyze with Thunder Wave. It doesn't even matter that we have a fairly low speed stat. And we're coming in with 43 attack and defense, 58 special attack, 48 special defense, and 35 speed. Let's just see if we can get this one as easily as I think we can. So first things first on Clefairy, I think there's nothing to do but go straight into the Thunder Shocks. She uses Metronome for double team here, and then we get a critical hit and knock her out. Out comes the Miltank. I'm going to paralyze this Pokemon first. She did a lot of damage with that Stomp turn 1, but now I'm just going to go into the Thunder Shocks here and just hope that she's fully paralyzed for 1 or 2 more turns. She is getting us on very low health, but then she's fully paralyzed and we beat her on the first attempt. It's probably not perfectly consistent, but definitely consistent enough that you could get through that fight most of the time with an Ampharos. And just like that, we have gotten the 2 pure fully evolved electric types through, but there is one more electric type in this episode that we need to check out, and that of course is Lanturn. Now Lanturn is kind of a different beast given the fact that it has very different moves than either of these Pokemon. So let's see if maybe some confusion strats come into play as we try to get through this one. Now Lanturn is interesting here in that it only will learn Thunder or Return via TM in this next section, and both of those immediately put it at least into the unreasonable TMs category. Even a move like Headbutt that we can pick up right here, because obviously we can just sell it for money later, is not actually useful for this Pokemon. Up to this point, we've just kind of been flying by the seat of our pants, using confusion strats and just kind of getting really lucky to get through fights. And we're pretty much going to have to do more of the same here if we don't want to have to use some sort of really unreasonable TM. And it's kind of ridiculous. The only move we're going to be able to learn via level up here is going to be Watergun, which is just a 40 base power water move. So I'm not sure it's going to be enough. We'll just have to find out. Flail strats may be a really big part of this section though, so I'm going to try to intentionally get my HP down before we start the Whitney fight. So first things first, we'll take on Scary Carry, and I'm just going to sit here and spam Bubble on this Pokemon. I'm kind of just hoping it lowers my HP quite a bit so that maybe I can get better ranges with my Flail. Granted, it's not doing that much damage, so we do manage to get through easily just by bubbling that Pokemon down. And now we have our first slow level up Pokemon here. We're only at level 16 as we come into the Whitney fight. We have 72 HP, but again, I'm not going to heal right away. I'm going to see if I can get better Flail ranges. And we're coming in with Bubble, Thunder Wave, Supersonic, and Flail. So in theory, we can go for some Confusion plus Paralysis strats and try to get Flail to build up enough that we can actually damage our opponents decently. We're coming in with only 29 attack, 29 defense, 35 special attack, 35 special defense, and 32 32 speed, so it's not like our stats are great, but let's just see if we can find a way through. So Whitney attempt number 1 here, I'm just going to lead off with a Thunder Wave on this Clefairy. It double slaps me, which is perfectly fine. I'm just going to go into my Flails, and we're just kind of hoping that it gets us on lower and lower health. So we do get to knock that Pokemon out. Out comes the Miltank, and of course it's just going to stomp us down from low health. So there is no option of going into the Miltank with low health here, outside of maybe coming in here with a Quick Claw and trying to get some luck that way, but I'm pretty sure we're not going to knock this Pokemon out even with a really powered up Flail. So we might need to try a different strategy here. So I'm going to give Lanturn a Gold Berry here, and what I'm going to try to do is try to set up my Thunder Wave and my Supersonic and then go into attacks and just see if we can somehow get the luck to get through with that. So Whitney, round number 2, we're going to paralyze her right away here, and we get the Supersonic to land on Clefairy, and it hits itself in confusion. Bubble's not going to do much of anything, but it is hitting itself. Once it stops hitting itself, we're going to try to confuse this Pokemon again, and we're taking 5 damage per hit from the move Double Slap, which is definitely not what we want to see here. So we end up getting through to the Miltank, but we've already used the Gold Berry here, and it goes for rollout. Fortunately, we get to paralyze it and confuse it, and that will break up the rollout. Now I'm going into Flail strats, and we're just hoping that we can somehow manage to deal enough damage. It got us on low health, but we're gonna need at least one more turn of it missing here to have any shot, and she knocks us out just like that. So this is like the best luck we've gotten so far. We still have the Gold Berry on, we still have 52 HP going into the Miltank, and she goes for rollout turn 1, which is just what we wanted to see. We paralyze her and confuse her. She's fully paralyzed, and now we can basically just try to whittle this Pokemon down. She lands a Stomp this turn, and she snapped out of confusion, so we have to reconfuse her, and now we're kind of hoping that she deals damage to us and we're able to Flail. She does hit herself in confusion there, but then she stomps us the next turn and we go down. And this time, even though we've gotten her in a pretty good range, she just used Milk Drink to heal back up. So it's pretty clear that this strategy, outside of just god tier luck of her always being confused every turn or paralyzed, which granted, it could happen eventually, is really just not going to be enough to get through this fight with anything less than that. So we have to start looking at other TM moves. And this is the first Pokemon for whom I think the answer is to get access to a Game Corner TM. Because while we could learn Return, we don't have a great attack stat, and Return is not a same type move. So the only move that I can think of that theoretically will get us through this fight would be Thunder. Because while that move isn't particularly accurate, it would eventually make it possible to get through here. Now, I've previously broken down how it is possible to eventually win the card flip game here, so we're not going to sit here and just spam this forever because that will take an absolute eternity. I'm just going to use Game Hook in order to give myself the TM. But for the record, you would be here for a very long time trying to get the coins to get this move. So I'm simply going to take the Thunder TM and slap it onto our Lanturn here, and we're going to replace the move Bubble because Bubble is so incredibly weak and basically useless on this Pokemon. Let's go for something that actually has some power. So coming back to Whitney with Thunder on the moveset, we can see it did over half on the first Clefairy, and it used Tri Attack with Metronome and paralyzed us. Great. We missed the second Thunder, of course. The third Thunder does hit and knock that Pokemon out. Now we definitely need to paralyze this Miltank. We need to confuse this Miltank, but we were fully paralyzed, and since we're both fully paralyzed, we simply lose. So let's try this one again. This time we land the first Thunder, we get a double slap, we land the second Thunder, so the first Clefairy does go down. Now we can Thunder Wave, and let's go into Thunder, and we can see that Thunder did 29 damage, so this is still a 3-hit KO on the Miltank with Thunder. We miss the Thunder, and we get knocked out by rollouts. On the third attempt, we managed to get to the Miltank on full health. It stomps and gets a critical hit, so we're all the way down to 19 HP. We have to use our Gold Berry right there. Now we use Thunder, and on 2 HP remaining, she's fully paralyzed. I'm going for Flail in order to knock this one out because Thunder is too inaccurate. So the fact is is that we do get through that fight. We get a level up and learn Watergun. I'm not sure we want this move because we're going to get Surf in the next section anyway. So we're going to skip that move for now. But yeah, Lanturn, it can technically get through Whitney. Is it good or reasonable? No. No, it is not. You can either sit here and reset for a small eternity trying to get to the paralysis and confusion luck that you need to get through, or you can get access to Thunder, which isn't even a particularly consistent strat there because you're still in a 3-hit KO range on that Miltank. And when you're considering that our strongest same type move in the game is effectively still a 3-hit KO range there and isn't even particularly accurate, that tells you kind of everything that we need to know about Lanturn. So it's gonna progress in that unreasonable TMs category, but this is not a Pokemon that you should be excited to take a run with. And honestly, I don't think it's gonna stick around much longer. But for now, it has managed to just scrape through, and we are going to move on to the unevolved forms of Ampharos and of course Raichu. Now, of course, Pikachu has probably the trolliest way of trying to get through this section. It already knows the move Double Team via level up, and regardless of how you feel about this move, is probably our best shot of getting through. We could also pick up some other TMs, of course. Headbutt and Thunder Punch are available, and realistically, we could even go for a Mud Slap Double Team combo. Understanding that, 6 stages of one and that's it? No, when you have 6 stages of evasion setup and 6 stages of accuracy setup, some pretty ridiculous things can start to happen. We'll avoid that strategy if at all possible, but it might be the only way to progress. So I am simply going to get Thunder Punch here in this one because we might need it. I won't slap it on right away though. We're going to test out the ranges with our moveset as it is, and then only start adding TMs when we're sure that we absolutely need them. It's obviously not as big a mistake to add a department store TM on because of the fact that we could always forget it and relearn it later on. But still, I'd like to see if a Pokemon can get through without that move, because if you were going for a more optimal strat, you might want to save that money for something else. So here against Scary Carry, I'm just going to go all in on the Thunder Shocks. We're getting licked, which is obviously not what we wanted, and Scary Face, but now we paralyze the Snubble and we get through just like that. So now it's just time to take on the gym leader with our series mascot Pikachu. We've got a level 17 Pikachu coming in with 45 HP. We know Thunder Shock, Quick Attack, Double Team, and Thunder Wave, and we're coming in with 30 attack, 21 defense, 28 special attack, 25 special defense, and 42 speed. I think 21 defense is the lowest defense stat we've had so far, so we might take massive damage from a stomp. Let's just see if we have any chance of getting through here. So Whitney attempt number 1, I'm gonna try all in on attack first. Let's just see what kinds of ranges we get. So Thunder Shock on this Clefairy did 9 damage. That means that this move will be a 6-hit KO without a critical hit. And we can see that she's doing massive damage to us, even with fairly weak moves. So we actually need to set up the double teams here if we're going to have any chance of getting through this one. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to set up a Thunder Wave to paralyze this Pokemon, because if she's paralyzed, there's an even greater chance of her not hitting us because she might just be fully paralyzed for the turn. Now she metronomed Glare, so we got paralyzed too, but if we can somehow manage to get all of the double teams set up, we might still have a chance here. Now I'm going into Thunder Shock, and we're just hoping to get the misses. So this time we do manage to get through the Clefairy. We level up to level 18 as we get to Miltank. We are going to paralyze this Pokemon as well, and now just go into the Thunder Shocks. But of course, the second stomp hits, we are done. So let's try this again, but this time we need to have a stronger attacking move. And the obvious choice, of course, is Thunder Punch. It's a massive upgrade on our Thunder Shock, and it's going to give us a decent way to try to get through this one. We're also going to make sure to give ourselves the Gold Berry that we got from our Machop so that we have more healing as we go through this. So now we're going to repeat the same setup here. We're going to go for the Thunder Wave into Double Team, just hoping that we get lots and lots of paralysis and or misses. Instead, we get Takedown and we get knocked out. And it turns out Thunder Punch is still a 4-hit KO on that first Clefairy. And now against the Miltank, we did 17 damage there. So this is going to be a 4-hitter if we get 17 damage every single time. We did not get 17 damage the second time. So this is even going to be a 5-hit KO from the looks of things. It is fully paralyzed and then we get the critical hit. So we do manage to beat Whitney within a reasonable number of attempts once we add on the move Thunder Punch. But I'm not sure that was even that consistent. Like I said though, we did have another strategy in our back pocket, obviously to go for the Double Team plus Mud Slap strat. You'd be stacking accuracy drops on top of evasion. But even if that worked here, that might not get us very far into the run because Morty is going to be a nightmare for this Pokemon. In general, Morty's going to go for Curse with his first Ghastly. There's a chance that he won't, but even if he doesn't, he still has other Pokemon to use Curse, and they can do decent damage against a Pikachu, given the fact that we have such low stats. So I'm not feeling too confident with this Pokemon going forward, but we will run away from Sudowoodo for now, and it's time to move on, and we'll just have to see how it does in the next section. So Flaafy here does learn Thunder Punch and Fire Punch, so it should have plenty of options for this section. We're just going to have to see if it's as consistent as I hope it is. We already had to learn Swift in the last section just to be able to get through the Bayleaf, so we certainly aren't as powerful as Ampharos was in that section. So this is another Pokemon for whom I think at least having Thunder Punch makes a lot of sense. And let's just see if we can take on Whitney's gym. So first things first, we got to take on Scary Carry, where this Pokemon should just be a matter of spamming Thunder Shock. We're faster, it's only going to be a 3-hit KO regardless, and so we easily get through and level up to level 20. And so now standing directly in front of Whitney, we're coming in with 65 HP on our Flaafy. We know Thunder Shock, Swift, Tackle, and Thunder Wave. I'm going to go in with this moveset first and see if it works. If it doesn't, then I'll think about changing my moves around. And we have 35 attack, 35 defense, 44 special attack, 36 special defense, and 31 speed. So I am going to give myself a gold berry, of course, just so that I'm hopefully a little bit more survivable here. But we've got significantly better defense than like Pikachu did earlier on in this one. So I think we should be reasonably survivable with the heal midway through battle. So Whitney attempt number 1, I'm simply going to go all in on attack first. Thunder Shock appears to be a 3-hit KO. She metronomed Rest, so that should be just fine for us. In fact, it turns out to be a 4-hitter, but we do just knock her out while she's still asleep. Out next comes the Miltank. We are going to paralyze this Pokemon since it is faster, and now just go into our Thunder Shock. We have higher special attack than attack, so Thunder Shock is the clear play. She stomps us for really good damage, but fortunately, because of her paralysis, we're going to be able to knock her out on the first attempt. Flaafy moves on with no real issues. And with Flaafy done, that basically means all of the electric types managed to get through, but there is one more that we have to try. Of course, it is the channel member pick Chinchou from Star DF29. So Star DF29's Chinchou finished the last section with arguably the most ridiculous moveset for this Pokemon. Flail, Watergun, Confuse Ray, and Spark. So Confuse Ray is better because it's guaranteed to hit, and Spark obviously was a strong electric type move. Watergun was a stronger water type move, so theoretically this could be a better moveset, but after what we saw with Lanturn, I'm not super confident here. Of course, the real issue with this Pokemon was just that it doesn't have decent stats anywhere. We're gonna be another really low defense Pokemon and be dealing with the fact that our attacking stats aren't that great either. So we're gonna be going for some crazy confusion luck, I think, here, and definitely some paralysis luck too. Since we don't have Thunder Wave on the moveset, we're gonna have to go for something like trying to get a paralysis from Spark in order to get through, I think. So first things first, we got to take on Scary Carry. We're just gonna go Spark the whole way, and this is a 3-hit KO with this move on the Snubbull. We do manage to take it down without taking any damage though, so at least we can move on to Whitney. Coming into this fight, we have a a level 16 Chinchou with 56 HP. We know Flail, Watergun, Confuse Ray, and Spark. Obviously no change there. We have the pink bow on still from previously, and we're coming in with 23 attack, 23 defense, 29 special attack, 29 special defense, and 32 speed. Our really low defense has me super nervous in this one. Let's see if we can make it work though. So first attempt against Whitney, we are going to confuse her Clefairy. It hits itself in confusion. That's exactly what we wanted to see. And now we use Spark, and we're going to be able to knock it out in just a couple turns. She goes Sunny Day here, so obviously we don't want to go for water moves. Now out comes the Miltank. It goes for rollout. We confuse this Pokemon. It hits itself in confusion, and we're just sitting here spamming Spark, hoping that it hits itself. We even paralyze this Pokemon. It hits itself in confusion, and another Spark means that Chinchou wins on the first attempt. So Star DF, that was just ridiculously good luck. But we did manage to get through with this Pokemon without adding anything else onto the set. So I guess it kind of okay, but I have really little confidence in this Pokemon going forward. We're going to be taking so much damage from so many opponents that I just don't see a good way that we're actually going to progress. But I could be proven wrong, and that's kind of the fun part of these channel member picks, is that I can play with different ideas to see what could possibly get a Pokemon through, even if we have to go completely broken movesets. Because there are some cases where it's completely impossible, no matter what you did. Even if you traded to another cartridge, gave yourself a bunch of TMs, you will just hit a wall at some point. And Chinchou might be one of those Pokemon, but for now it has managed to get through Whitney. So with that, let's check in on our progress so far. So now with all of the electric types done, we can see that we're up to 27 Pokemon passing, but we had to add Lanturn into the unreasonable TMs category right there next to Pidgey. Yes, you can progress with these Pokemon, but it's completely unreasonable to do so. Now we've got to move on to the next set of Pokemon that we still have remaining. First up is, of course, Sandslash. It's going to be a very defensively bulky Pokemon with very good physical attacks. Stab, Dig in this section. I think it's going to do fine, but let's find out. So of course our Sandslash just added the move Mud Slap in the last section in order to use accuracy strats to get through rival number 2, but here we could even upgrade to Dig, which is a same type move, would actually be really strong on this Pokemon. We can also add Fury Cutter if we want to, and we get access to things like Swift, so we have plenty of moves to use if we have any trouble against Miltank. So honestly, I think this one comes down more to the question of whether or not we have to upgrade our moveset in order to beat Whitney, or if we can beat her with what we've got right now. So we're going to lead off first against Scary Carry, of course, where we can simply just scratch, I think, and it's going to do perfectly fine. She does charm us, but it's not like we're taking that much damage from her moves because we're pretty darn bulky. So she can just keep spamming charm and we'll just eventually win. And now standing directly in front of Whitney, we've got a level 17 Sandslash with 59 HP. We're holding the Gold Berry and we're going to come in with Poison Sting, Defense Curl, Scratch, and Mud Slap. I decided to go with Poison Sting just because we could go for some poison and accuracy strats here. Together with the Defense Curls, it might be enough. And we're coming in with 45 attack, 49 defense, 26 special attack, 30 special defense, and 33 speed. We're not actually fast enough to outspeed anything here, but we should still be okay, I think, as long as we can just get all of our defense curls set up. Let's try this. So first things first against the Clefairy, we're just really hoping this Pokemon doesn't use a metronome move that's really strong against us, and we're just going to spam defense curl this whole time. And now with 6 stages of defense, I'm even just going to try to poison this Pokemon because it's used some defense buffs, and now we'll just go straight into some scratches and try to knock this Pokemon out. It's defense curling too, but with poison it will go down eventually, and we're not going to take that much damage from its double slaps. We level up to level 18 as the Miltank comes out, and now I'm going to go into a Mud Slap strat and just basically hoping to break up these rollouts. And since Mud Slap is a same type move, it is reasonably strong here, and now she's going to start healing, but I'm actually going to try to poison her at this point. And we get the poison on. Now we can move back into Mud Slap, once again just making sure to get her accuracy down. Stomp doesn't do that much. We heal with the Gold Berry, so we're both kind of back up near full health. Obviously none of our moves on our current moveset are that strong, which is why she does get the chance to use Milk Drink. But with our really high defense, she's not going to do much damage, and at -6 accuracy, she's not going to hit often enough in order to really make an impact with her physical attacks. She's even trying to attract us because I think she knows that's the only way through, but she did get a really strong critical hit stomp there. Finally, however, she doesn't manage the Milk Drink, and we knock her out on the first attempt with our Sandslash. It was never really in question. A bulky ground type like this, especially with Defense Curl, always has an advantage here. She can't really build up rollout enough for it to matter, and while yes, she could use Stomp, once we manage to just set up a ton of Mud Slaps on her, she's just not going to hit that often with that move, meaning that we can pretty darn easily get through. And in the next section, it's really just going to be kind of interesting to see how strong Mud Slap is as a same type move against the ghosts. Maybe it will be enough. But for now, that is Sandslash through this section, and we are ready to move on in this challenge. And with Sandslash done, I think it's time to get into our normal types. We have, of course, the entire Clefable line, and we've got Togetic here. Togetic obviously is a flying type as well as a normal type, but it does know Metronome, so we're gonna have some Metronome action going on here. Let's see how these Pokemon do. We're gonna lead off with the Clefable and see if it can get through this section. Now, of course, Clefable's huge advantage here is that it just gets tons and tons of moves. We can go for Nightmare here. We can go ahead and get the Elemental Punches. We can get stronger same type, normal type moves. There's really no limit on what we can do in this section of the game. So I think that Clefairy's big brother is going to do pretty well against Whitney. We'll just have to see. We might even be at a point where it's smart to just get rid of Metronome because we have tons of other strong moves that we could learn here, and it's going to be more consistent to get through fights when we actually know what move we're going to use each turn. Still, as usual, I will stick with my current moveset for as long as I possibly can because I prefer not to use TMs unless I absolutely need to, and as we've seen with a Pokemon like Cleffa, it's not like you always need to add TMs in order to get through tough fights. So I'm going to avoid buying any Elemental Punches at this point. I'm going to just try the gym once with what I've got. Of course, if it's really inconsistent with our Metronome, if we just keep getting the wrong moves, then we may just come back and add on another move. But honestly, we might just replace something like Double Slap with Headbutt in order to get a much better same type move here. So first things first, we've got to take on Scary Carry, and I'm just going to slap this Snubble crazy here, and it basically just takes 3 double slaps to get through that Pokemon. So now let's just save the game and check the stats as we come into Whitney here. With Clefable, we're at level 19 with 72 HP. We know Metronome, Double Slap, Sing, and Moonlight. I'm holding a berry right now. I may add the gold berry, we'll just have to see. But we're coming in with 39 attack, 40 defense, 44 special attack, 46 special defense, and 35 speed. So we're pretty decent here. We're not going to outspeed against the Miltank, but it might not matter. Let's just try this. So Whitney attempt number 1, we're up against her Clefairy, and I'm just going to double slap this Pokemon repeatedly. She uses Clamp on us, and we continue to take Clamp damage, which is kind of bad, but we are going to knock out the Clefairy just like that. Out comes the Miltank next. I'm simply going to put this Pokemon to sleep with Sing. We can go ahead and use Moonlight in order to heal up, and now we may as well just Metronome and see what we get. We Metronome Agility, so we're now faster than the Miltank. I'm just going to use up my remaining double slap PP first, since at least we can get her HP down by doing that. Here we had to use our berry, but we do put her back to sleep. I'm going to use Moonlight in order to regain some health, and now we have no choice but to use our Metronome. We used Wrap on the first Metronome. Second Metronome is String Shot. Then we get Thunder Wave. Not quite getting the moves that we want. We're getting really weak moves here. Now we use Swagger and confuse the Miltank. Safeguard, Clamp. So we finally get a decent damaging move. Now we recover and we Wrap again, but Wrap is enough to knock her out. So we never really used a strong move there against Whitney, and we still managed to get through just thanks to the fact that we could put her to sleep, we could heal with Moonlight, and yeah. Metronome strats are always going to be very random, of course, but it is always giving you a chance to get through. So once again, Clefable just kind of does its thing and easily manages to get through another gym leader. I do think we're going to have to change up the moveset a little bit when we get to the next section though, because obviously normal type moves do not work on ghosts, and there are an awful lot of normal type moves that can pop up with Metronome. I think that's the point where we're going to have to add something else on, but keep in mind that the quick Quick Claw that we're picking up right here could be the key to getting through a really tough fight with this Pokemon, because if we can get the Quick Claw to activate and land Sing, which is honestly about the same luck as getting a critical hit, then in that case, we could, at least in theory, win a fight by simply putting a Haunter or Ghastly to sleep and knocking it out before it has the chance to use Curse on us. So that could be a strategy in the next section. So I'll be very interested to see how we actually do with Clefable in the next part of the game, but for now, it is moving on. It's time for Togetic. Now, by comparison to Clefable, Togetic does not get nearly as many strong moves in this section, but it can't even go for rollout strats, which is kind of interesting. As a flying Pokemon, it could just try that move. Obviously, we're going to go into the fights with what we had at the end of the last section, which was that we added on the TM Swift, but otherwise we were using Metronome, we had Charm, we had Growl, and we'll just have to see if that's enough. Obviously, there are more broken things that we could use in this section, but we're going to avoid those at all costs. So for now, we're just going to run with this moveset and try to gain as many levels as we can with the required trainers before we go take on Whitney. Now, by a level up, we can learn Sweet Kiss. I'm going to learn it over Growl since Growl and Charm are pretty redundant. And with that move on, we also have a way to confuse opponents. First things first, let's try with no changes to our moveset. I'm just going to come in and spam Swift on the Snubble. And yes, it can use Charm on me, but eventually we are going to knock that Pokemon out. Now, the thing that does make me nervous, of course, is that we are going to be weak against the move Rollout here. So I'm definitely giving the Goldberry right from the beginning. And let's check the stats as we come into this fight. We're coming in with a level 19 Togetic with 57 HP. We know Swift, Charm, Sweet Kiss, and Metronome. We might go for Charm and Sweet Kiss strats in order to get the Miltank so it can't do much damage to us, and hopefully hits itself in confusion, and then just try to take it down from there. We're coming in with only 27 attack, but we've got 44 defense, 42 special attack, 52 special defense, and a measly 27 speed. This Pokemon is not fast, though we will still outspeed the Clefairy, so we should at least get through that Pokemon reasonably quickly. Let's just see how this goes. So Whitney attempt number 1, I'm just going to go Swift on the Clefairy. This appears to be a 3-hit KO. It mimics Swift, so it even loses a turn. That's just fine. Now we definitely need to confuse this Miltank. We want it to hit itself in confusion just like that. And now we're going to go for the Charms here. And now that we've set up 3 Charms, I'm just going to try to keep this Pokemon confused. And I'm going to spam some Metronome and just see what we get. We get Twister, then it goes for Stomp. Now we get Extreme Speed, and it's into the rollouts on us, so we really do need to confuse this Pokemon again. We get the Sweet Kiss, so that's just what we wanted to see, but it didn't hit itself in confusion, so we lose the first attempt. So a couple attempts later, we get to Miltank on full health, we confuse it turn 1, but it's still building up the rollouts. We can see rollout does massive damage to this Pokemon. Finally, it did miss a rollout, but we've got to get this Pokemon confused again, and Sweet Kiss is not perfectly accurate, and it's actually kind of counterproductive using Charm here, but I think it's our only way to survive enough turns to get through this. And once again, we simply get knocked out too quickly. What's pretty obvious to me is that we're not dealing enough damage. Even when I try to use Swift here, this is looking like a 6-hit KO with Swift. So we would need a lot of luck to get through with just this setup, and it's time to start thinking about changing our moveset. So I think one option is to try Rollout here. Rollout kind of makes sense in the sense that even in the next section against Ghosts, it can hit them, so it gives us a strategy that might be a little more consistent than just going for Metronome there. So let's just see if this move can somehow work. So I'm going to forget Swift here because obviously we could learn Headbutt, which is stronger than Swift anyway. So I'm just going to forget this move one time and just see what rollout strats look like here on this battle. So with rollout, I'm going to try setting it up immediately on the Clefairy. Now we missed our 3rd rollout, so we of course lose all of our built up damage there. We heal up with the Goldberry, but now we do knock Clefairy out. This is the 4th turn of rollout on the Miltank, and it did about half damage. So even a fully built up rollout is only doing about half to the Miltank. We are going to need much better setups than that to get through this, but we should still try just a couple more times. The logic here is that we can set up Charm, of course, in order to reduce the physical attack of this Clefairy, and we can confuse it so it's less likely to hit us. Minimize, and now go into rollout. And if we don't miss any rollouts, we should be able to knock this Pokemon out. We do in 3 turns. And now we use our final rollout there on the Miltank and it misses. And I must have miscounted because we had one more rollout there and it knocks out the Miltank. So it only took 2 attempts with rollout to get through there. And what that means is that rollout strats do in fact work here. And of course, if you got a single critical hit with a rollout on that Miltank, it would be a 1-hit KO. So this strategy can in fact work. So while certainly not as good as the Clefable, Togetic does manage to get through and it's moving on to the Morty section. The obvious issue in the next section, of course, is that normal type moves cannot hit ghosts, and we don't necessarily have a good way to damage ghost Pokemon before they use Curse on us. Quick Claw will definitely be part of it, but we might have to try Mud Slap strats. We might have to hope for some critical hits. Rollout might be the actual play though. We'll just have to see. But now that we have gotten through with our Togetic, let's go ahead and save this game and move on to the less evolved forms of Clefable, starting with Clefairy, and see if it can find a way through this section. Now, of course, Clefairy had to use Mud Slap in the Rival 2 section just to get through the Ghastly because it didn't have any other way to get through that Pokemon. But here, as far as TM moves go, we've got Nightmare on the table, so there are plenty of options available to this Pokemon to get through. We just have to see if they're enough. So of course I'm going to avoid learning any new TMs unless I actually need them, so let's just test out with what we've got, because we've already got Sleep strats and Mud Slap strats to add on to Pound and Encore, so we should be able to do something here. Starting with Scary Carry though, I'm just going to spam Pound. I think this is just the simplest way to get through this, and we easily get through on the first attempt, and we get to learn Minimize. I'm going to learn Minimize over Encore. Now, I know Stomp does more damage if you use Minimize, but the combination of lowering her accuracy plus increasing our own evasion plus putting her to sleep might be enough that we can just pound her down. So here I will slap on the Goldberry just to have a little more HP in this fight, but let's check the stats. We're coming in with a level 19 Clefairy with 63 HP. We know Pound, Mud Slap, Minimize, and Sing. We've got the Goldberry, and we've got 29 attack, 30 defense, 35 special attack, 37 special defense, and 25 speed. I just really want to see if we can get through with this moveset. Let's try this. So round 1 against Whitney, and we can see our Clefairy is 1 level higher than hers, so we can try to put her Clefairy to sleep. And now I'm just going to set up the Minimize like crazy, and let's just see what this does. And she metronomes Explosion and knocks us out in 1 hit. So yeah, evasion strats aren't really that good, and it's kind of strange that she gets metronome and we don't. But this attempt we do manage to set everything up. We're just going to put her back to sleep and go to Pound Town on her sleeping Clefairy. It's Clefairy on Clefairy violence, and we easily knock that Pokemon out. Out next comes the Miltank, and it lands the Stomp and one-shots us. Let's try this again. A couple attempts later, we're back to Miltank here, and once again the Stomp simply is too much and we get one shot. This time we get a Stomp miss though, and we managed to put the cow to sleep, and I'm just gonna go crazy on the Mud Slaps here, basically lowering her accuracy so that it stacks together and she's even less likely to actually land a Stomp now. And now with her accuracy down 6 stages, I'm gonna go to Pound Town on the sleeping cow. She milk drinks to heal up, but she misses a Stomp. We put her back to sleep, and this is turning into a bit of a war of attrition. Like, is she gonna hit us with Stomp, or are we going to be able to keep her asleep for enough turns that she can milk drink? And this time she stays asleep, so we actually managed to get through within just a few attempts there. Clefairy with the Mud Flap Minimize strats actually manages to get through Whitney. It's important to note that Sing is important there, because Sing is the way that we get all those extra turns to set up all the accuracy strats and basically make it so that she can't hit us. What you've got to understand is that even though they nerfed accuracy and evasion in Gen 2, you're still saying that she's only got a 33% chance to hit us because of the evasion setup, but then you're multiplying that 33% accuracy by 33% chance to hit you due to evasion. So it's only like a 10-11% chance for her to actually hit you, and then you add on all the turns that she stays asleep. That's the reason that that strategy can actually work. So just like that, Clefairy gets through. I'm not sure it's going to do well in the next section. We probably are going to have to add on some elemental punches or maybe go for nightmare strats. We'll just have to see. But for now, it's gotten through this section, and it's time to check out a baby Pokemon in Little Cleffa. Now, anybody who's been watching the channel for a while will know I have a pretty strong appreciation for this Little Cleffa because it even managed to beat Rival 2 without using any TMs, something that its evolved form in Clefairy could not do. I even bought the Cleffa doll for my little boy as his very first Pokemon, so of course I'm gonna try to get this Pokemon through without any TMs. If it doesn't work though, we will of course backtrack to a lot of these other options that we have in this section of the game. I think that Cleffa has a decent chance to get through here since it does have Sing. Worst case, it can go for Nightmare strats. Combine that with the Sweet Kiss in order to get some confusion. I think it will be enough. Now, of course, as far as stats, this is about as weak as Pokemon come at this point in the challenge, but let's see if we can get through. Starting with Scary Carry, the obvious strategy is just to put Pokemon to sleep, because if they're asleep, they can't do nearly as much damage. We can Sweet Kiss as well to confuse them while they're asleep, and they can't snap out of confusion while they're asleep, so when they wake up, they will still be confused. And here, even with Charm on from this Snubble, we're still doing decent enough damage, and we managed to get through without any damage from Carrie herself. But I do think this is a spot where we definitely want to give the Gold Berry just so that we have a way to be more survivable here. And checking the stats coming in, our Cleffa is at level 19 with 55 HP, Pound, Charm, Sweet Kiss, and Sing on the moveset. And we're coming in with 22 attack, 23 defense, 29 special attack, 33 special defense, and only 18 speed. We will actually be outsped by the first Clefairy in this fight. So we are going to have to survive an extra turn. Let's see if we can manage to do it. So first things first, against this Clefairy, I am going to put this Pokemon to sleep. It used Sunny Day. That's perfectly fine by us. And once it's asleep, we're going to confuse this Pokemon too, and then take it to Pound Town. Once it wakes up, we're going to try to keep this Pokemon asleep. Fortunately, it's hitting itself in confusion. And just like that, Cleffa gets through the Clefairy with no damage. Now we're on to the Miltank. We're going to, of course, Sing on this Pokemon, heal up with the Gold Berry. I'm going to Sweet Kiss to try to keep it confused if it does wake up, and now go into Charm. We want to lower its attack as much as possible. And now with 3 charms set up, we can go to Pound Town. It goes Attract on us. And here Stomp is still doing decent damage. Plus, the fact that we're infatuated means that we don't get a hit very often. So we're going to have to kind of hope for some luck here. Honestly, Attract might have been the worst case scenario for this Pokemon. Now the Miltank did use Rollout, but we got it back to sleep. And we simply can't land any hits due to infatuation, and we lose the first attempt. Still, I think we might have been able to get through there if we weren't affected by Attract. So I'm not ready to give up just yet. Back to Miltank again. This time it does not have Attract on us. We've got it asleep. We've got all of the charms set up. So now we just have to see if we can deal enough damage. It gets a critical hit Stomp though and ends that run. So it's pretty clear that this strategy just isn't going to work as it is. We either need to upgrade our attacking moves or we need a better status move. But honestly, I think Nightmare might be our best bet. Because Pound doesn't do a lot of damage, we can obviously learn better physical moves here. I think this is the move to forget because Charm, Sweet Kiss, Sing, they could all be useful in their own right in certain situations. So I'm gonna actually forget the move Pound here and try to go Nightmare strats. Let's just see how this goes. So this time we put the Clefairy to sleep and now we're going for Nightmare. And then once it's under Nightmare, we're going to then confuse this Pokemon. And I'm just gonna spam Charm the rest of the way just to lower its attack stat if it does wake up. And fortunately, that Pokemon does go down after only hitting us with 1 double slap. Out next is the Miltank. We put this Pokemon to sleep. We're going to Nightmare it as well. And now we're just going for Sweet Kiss to try to confuse this Pokemon. And we're going to give it the charms. And just like that, the first attempt where we used Nightmare, we won. So Cleffa continues its kind of dominance amongst baby Pokemon, beating a 3rd gym leader without without really being that inconsistent. And with that done, we can move on now in this challenge. And that's kind of ridiculous, honestly, that Cleffa is still in this one. And from here, I think how far this Pokemon will go depends a little bit on luck. Because with the Quick Claw, we could try to set up things like Sing and then go into Nightmare first on opponents. Now, the real issue in the next section is that this Pokemon will not get access to elemental punches. So we may be going for some Quick Claw luck there. And we'll probably still have to add on one more attacking move. But for now, Cleffa moves on in this challenge, which is just ridiculous. This little Pokemon just refuses to quit. And I'll be very interested to see, because if its fully evolved form Clefable manages to beat all of Johto, or maybe even beat the entire game, we're going to know that this Pokemon is a future legend. But for now, we're just going to move on to the next section, and Cleffa is a baby Pokemon, continuing on to the 4th gym. So with that, our pass column continues to grow. 32 Pokemon getting through Whitney. Only 2 Pokemon have had to turn to overpowered TMs to get through her, and nothing has failed. Everything is actually a lot easier than I expected here on this section. So now it's time to just see if we can keep up this clean sweep. We've got Ninetales, and we've got Xatu, and we've got Vulpix as a channel member pick from Merkel. Let's see how these go, starting off with the Ninetales. So Ninetales did just manage to scrape by Rival 2 without taking a ton of resets and without learning any TMs in the last section. That might be about to change here though. We've seen fire types do manage to get through Whitney, but we still have to keep in mind that rollout could build up really fast here. So we're possibly going for a burn here. We might be needing to go dig strats. We're just going to have to see what the best way through is. So first things first, we'll come into the gym with our Ninetales, and we're just going to spam Ember here on this Snubble. This appears to be a 4-hit KO, maybe just barely. We actually get the 3-hit range, so very nice. And with that, we can move on to Whitney herself. We're coming in at level 17 with 58 HP. We know Ember, Quick Attack, Confuse Ray, and Safeguard. And we have 37 attack, 37 defense, 39 special attack, 45 special defense, and 45 speed. We might be in a speed tie after the level up here. We'll just have to see. I'm definitely going to give the Gold Berry here because I think it's the best strategy, and we're just going to have to see if we can survive long enough to get through this. Otherwise, we start looking at other TM moves. So Whitney attempt number 1, I'm going to go straight for Ember on the Clefairy, and that didn't do a lot of damage. It's 19 damage, so we're going to end up having a 4-hit KO range here. Or sorry, that was 14 damage, not 19. We actually end up having to use our Gold Berry right there on the first Clefairy. Now after the level up, we do in fact get to a speed tie with this Miltank. I think we have no choice but to confuse it and hope that it starts hitting itself in confusion. We're also kind of hoping that we can manage to burn it with an Ember, and otherwise we just really want to keep this Pokemon confused. So there we do get the burn, but it's too little too late, and we go down on the first attempt. Granted, that seemed kind of unlucky, so I'm going to try this one again. This time we get a mimicked flamethrower, so that does almost no damage. Double slap doesn't do that much either. We get a critical hit, so we're through to the Miltank still on green health. We confuse it turn 1, it hits itself in confusion, hits itself again, and now our Embers are doing decent damage. It hits itself a 3rd time. Now it goes Milk Drink due to the fact that it was getting to be on really low health. Stomp did decent damage, but we did manage to heal up. We'll reconfuse this Pokemon, and it's so close to going down, and it hits itself in confusion. So just like that, 2 attempts to get through with Ninetales. Obviously confusion strats are really important there, but it is possible to get through without even having to add on any TMs to this Pokemon. So we add Ninetales to the list of fire types that have gotten through without really any major issues here. Now it is kind of a relief given that this Pokemon was not going to get access to Fire Punch here, so it didn't have an upgraded fire type move unless we went for Fire Blast, which would have put it in the unreasonable TMs column. Obviously Dig and or Mud Slap would have been the strategies before we went for that, and being in a speed tie, we could still go for some sort of flinch strat with Headbutt. So there would be plenty of other ways to try to get through with Ninetales here, but fortunately we didn't have to dig that far because we just beat her in 2 attempts anyway. And now that Ninetales does manage to get through here, it's time to check in on our Vulpix, which is using the move Hypnosis as an egg move, and that move might be enough to get it through this section. And so as we start this one, I'm going to give a massive thank you to Roy Merkel. He's one of the longest time channel members here on this channel, as well as on that RBY Pokemon Challenges guys channel, and his contributions have definitely helped out a lot with keeping this content coming. Roy, I gotta say thank you, man. You are really appreciated. And in the last section, we added on the move Hypnosis as an egg move, as well as the TM for Swift. So we've got some stronger moves here. I think they're going to be enough to get through the underground, obviously, because nothing down here is really hard for any Pokemon. So it should simply be a matter of just getting to the gym and seeing if this moveset is enough. The main issue of a Vulpix, of course, is that it doesn't have great defense. So it's going to take a lot of damage here. And because we're in the medium fast level up group, we're not going to gain a ton of levels. So it's kind of up in the air just how good or bad we're actually going to be. So now coming into the gym proper, we're just going to spam Ember here on the Snubble. Let's see what kind of damage we take. We're obviously not very defensive, but we get through that just fine. And now we can move on to Whitney herself. We're once again obviously going to go with the Gold Berry here. I think it's the only way through. So coming into this fight, Roy Merkel's My Picks is at level 17 with 46 HP. Ember, Tail Whip, Swift, and Hypnosis is the moveset. We've got the Gold Berry on, and we've got 25 in attack and defense, 28 special attack, 33 special defense, 33 speed. So we'll just outspeed the Clefairy. Let's just see if we can make this work out. So first things first, we have to put this Clefairy to sleep, and now I'm going to actually Tail Whip it. It goes for Flame Wheel after it wakes up. Fortunately, that's not going to do much damage. The Double Slap, on the other hand, does really good damage, so we have to use our Gold Berry right here because Hypnosis just refuses to hit. After a single Tail Whip, we did 17 damage with our Swift, so this would be a 4-hit KO range still, even with a Tail Whip on. We do manage to get it there, but now we're onto the Miltank without any berries still on, and it stomps and does massive damage, so we go down in just 2 hits after we miss a Hypnosis. So it's pretty clear that we're going to have to get better Hypnosis luck here, and honestly, going for 2 Tail Whips might be the strategy on this first Clefairy. That turns this into a 3-hit KO, and we can get through with no damage this time to the Miltank. It goes roll out turn 1, we put it to sleep though, and now I'm going to Tail Whip on this Pokemon, and here with 3 Tail Whips, our Swift did 14 damage, so that's definitely not going to cut it, and as it wakes up, it simply knocks us out before we could even use the Gold Berry. But back to the Miltank again on full health. I'm going to alter my strategy somewhat. Now, we got a critical hit rollout turn 1, so we took a lot of damage there, but let's just see if we go for Swift without anything. That's a 7 damage there, so that means that this is going to be a 10-hit KO to get through the Miltank with Swift normally. So the Tail Whips are required. What we're hoping is that we get a nice long sleep, and then we're going to try to put it back to sleep as soon as it wakes up. It missed a rollout, and now we get to set up all of the Tail Whips. And now I'm going into Swift, and here we're doing decent damage. It goes into Milk Drink, but then we survive the rollout and we managed to knock it out in just a few attempts. So clearly the rollout miss was important there, as was hitting the Hypnosises. But as long as we can set up enough defense drops, we are actually able to get through without any shenanigans with this Vulpix, thanks to Hypnosis. Without Hypnosis, this would be completely impossible. There's no way we would get enough turns to set up the Tail Whips in order to get through, but just like that, we have made it work. And here I'll just make sure to correct the name so it displays properly. Roy Merkel, you are moving on in this challenge. I'm not sure how you're going to do against Morty, buddy, because that section's not going to give you a whole lot. I think dig strats are going to have to come in, and we're just going to have to hope that that can be enough. Otherwise, I guess Fire Blast is still technically on the table. I'm not sure if it's going to be strong enough, though, against those ghost types, given the fact that they have really good special stats. We'll just have to see. Still, that's a channel member getting through, and just like that, we can move on in the game. And of course, if you are considering joining the channel channel membership. There's not a whole lot that you can support right here on this section, but remember, we've done other sections so far. You have tons of Pokemon that failed on the Falkner section, as well as another 28 that failed on the Rival 2 and Bugsy section. So there are plenty of Pokemon available if you are interested in saving one of them. But for now, we have made it to the final Pokemon of this episode, which is of course Xatu. This Pokemon's such a weird flying type that I'm not sure how it's gonna do, but let's just try this out. Now Xatu is really weird in this section because it learns the move Nightmare, but it doesn't have a sleep move to use it with. It's a flying type, but it does not get access to Mud Slap like most of the other flying type Pokemon. So really the only TM that I think we have available to us is Swift, and otherwise we have to go for return strats here. Obviously teleport via level up, even if we got there, wouldn't do anything for us. So we're really limited on options with this Pokemon, and keeping in mind that neither Swift nor Return are same type moves. And when we look at our level up moveset, our only attacking moves right now are Peck and Nightshade. Like obviously Nightshade is completely useless in the gym here because it's a ghost type move, and in this generation it can't hit normal types. I missed the days of Gen 1 when this move basically worked on everything, and that basically means that we have to try to get through with Peck, Swift, or at worst Return. We can use Leer strats in order to try to get through, but with our weakness to Rock, I'm not sure it's going to be enough. This might actually be our first Pokemon to legit fail in this section of the game. That being said, our stats really aren't that bad here, so we might still have a chance. So of course we'll just start off against Scary Carry. We'll see what Peck does to her Snubble here, and this move's definitely doing enough damage. We're getting through this Pokemon just fine, but now we have to move on to the gym leader herself. So coming into Whitney at level 17, Xatu has 55 HP. We know Peck, Leer, and Nightshade. We'll add on TMs if we think we need them. We're holding a Gold Berry. We currently have 37 attack, 35 defense, 43 special attack, 35 special defense, and 44 speed. Is this going to be enough? I'm going to try once with our Peck strats, then we might go Swift strats, then assuming that fails, we might even have to go Return strats. Let's see if it can go or not. So first up, of course, is Clefairy. We just have to Peck on this Pokemon. We get a nice critical hit turn 1. It goes Rock Smash on us, which does basically nothing, and then Double Slap didn't do that much. We're on to Miltank now. I'm going to see the range of Peck just once before I try Leers here, and our first Peck did 11 damage, so this would be a 7-hit KO, just given that we wouldn't do quite enough to get through in 6 hits. We can see Rollout is building up very quickly, and we get knocked out just like that. And now, of course, we would love to go Mud Slap, but it's not learnable here, so our only real option in terms of TMs that we have available is Swift. So I'm going to try this move. It's just slightly stronger than Peck effectively, even after accounting for the same type attack bonus and accounting for the fact that we have Falkner's badge. So let's see if Swift can do enough damage. So this time against the Miltank with Swift, we did 17 damage, but that was with a critical hit. So 4 critical hits would be enough to get through, but we can see that we're not going to get the turns in order to set those up without like a lucky miss. There is a 10% chance for a rollout miss here, so in theory if we could get just one at the right time, maybe we could get through this one. I'm going to test it a few more times, but if it doesn't go, we're just going to have to try Max Friendship Return here. So this time we get a turn 1 miss from the Miltank. I'm going to set up 2 Leers here as we heal up, and now I'm going into Swift. And with 2 Leers, we managed to do 19 damage there. So it's going to be a 4-hit KO, 3 hits with a crit. She misses another rollout right there. And we landed a massive critical hit Swift. That is insanely lucky. And that means that we do manage to get through in 4 attempts. Did we deserve to get through? No. No, Xatu did not deserve to get through that. Oh, this Pokemon is broken. Oh, come on. Whitney, she had that one. I swear she had that one. honestly, without the multiple misses from rollout and the crit, we were not going to get through that, even with the fact that we had set up a couple of Leers. It wasn't going to work, guys. We got insanely lucky there. That level of luck does not happen very often when you consider it's a 10% chance for her to miss one rollout, right? So missing 2 rollouts is pretty darn close to a 1% chance. And then you consider that we got a critical hit. I mean, we're definitely talking like a 0.5% chance to get all of that luck to line up. That is completely unreasonable. But up to this point, I've said if a Pokemon gets lucky and gets through, we're going to let it progress. So Xatu does move on. I'm not sure it's going to have anything good in the next section though. So yeah, Xatu, good work, I guess. I really have no confidence in this Pokemon moving forward, but who knows? Maybe it will prove me wrong. Maybe Xatu turns out to be the one, the chosen Pokemon that's going to beat all of Johto, but I don't see it. Anyway, it has gotten through for now though, so we're going to try to move on with it. Let's check our progress in this one and see which Pokemon are coming up next time. So this is the second episode in a row that we've beaten Whitney with literally everything. Xatu didn't deserve it, but it did manage to get through within only 5 resets, and even the Pokemon that have technically failed could get unreasonably strong TMs here that would just take a lot of time, but they don't require luck per se. You can beat the card flip game in order to get access to Thunder, of course, and you can, of course, just run around to get the friendship until you can get return. So Whitney is turning out not to be that big of a challenge, but this is kind of to be expected. Like, the big thing that I've learned from doing solo challenges in these Pokemon games is that difficulty is not just an even, smooth ramp up throughout the game. Instead, what happens is that there are times where the player gets a massive power spike, and then there are times where the game gets a massive power spike. In this section, obviously we got the massive power spike based on the fact that tons of TMs were suddenly available to us that gives a lot of Pokemon options to get through. However, I think that when we get to Rival 3, when we get to Jasmine, when we get to Claire, and of course when we get to the Elite Four, we're going to see some situations where our power spike fades and the game suddenly has a massive power spike against a lot of our challengers. So even if we get through this section with a ton of Pokemon, it doesn't mean that we're going to beat the game with all of these ones. In fact, quite the opposite. We're probably going to struggle with a lot of Pokemon as we continue on. With that being said, we are coming back with a new set of challengers next time, and there are some interesting ones. We've got the entire Jigglypuff line, including Igglybuff. We're coming with Golbat and, of course, Crobat. We've got our Venomoth, Dugtrio, Persian. We've got our Golduck, which means we also have to do our Psyduck from the members' picks. Primeape is coming in. We've got the entire Poliwag line as well as Politoed, Azumarill, Sudowoodo, and Apom. And I'm also going to throw in a few other Pokemon in the next episode. Basically, I'm just going to kind of look where we are currently in the Pokedex and use that as my guide of which Pokemon to add in from the members pick section. So next time we are going to do, in addition to that Psyduck, Vileplume and Jumpluff. And since my personal Pokemon Arcanine would also pop up in that set, we're going to add it on to scout ahead and see what the Morty and Rival 3 section actually looks like, so that giving us a little bit of a preview of what is to come in that section. Anyway, drop your comments below what you think the progress is going to be next time. I can predict that based on our results so far, a lot of these Pokemon are going to get through. Obviously, the fighting types will have no trouble. I also think Sudowoodo's going to dominate. Dugtrio could be kind of interesting. I mean, it's going to be fast and it's going to have magnitude. So as long as we get good rolls, I think we get through. It's again kind of hard looking at next week to think which Pokemon are going to fail. If I had to guess anything, maybe a little Igglybuff, but yet again, Sing Strats might be enough to get that one. We'll just have to see, I guess. Anyway, that does it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.